We good? Yes. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Anna. This is Astral Tarot. And as promised, this is the follow-up video to the Mary L. Tarot. What do we do about the Mary L. Tarot? I don't really like that deck. I have the first edition. Don't hate me. It just happened that way. I read most of the book. I read parts of the book because I was interested in it. I wanted to know what this iconic, beloved deck is about. And so, I kind of like the book. The deck is a different story, but you know what? Let's just talk about it. It's actually a review of the book, maybe. I don't consider myself particularly skilled in doing book reviews, but there you go. It's just a bit of an exploration, and I want to share this with you. So let's go. Mary L. Tarot, Landscapes of the Abyss. Okay, so I read some majors, some minors, etc. I think it's really well written, actually. My first thought is it's really difficult for me, I don't know about you, professional tarot reader or not, to sometimes interpret the justice card for clients. I was reading about the justice card. I can show you. Let me just find it in the deck. It's Ma'at, same goddess that we see in the Thoth deck. There's a lot of Thoth influences in the Mary L. Here she is. It's very glossy stock, right? But I sometimes, as I said, find that this card to be the hardest card to interpret for a client without risking to offend them. Because, of course, it depends on the other cards in the spread around this particular card, this particular archetype. Doesn't really matter which deck we're talking about. And it, of course, depends on the spread position as well. But when I start talking about complete honesty, which is a very important part of this energy, it implies that maybe the client is lying to themselves in a way, or is lying to somebody else in a way. Same when I talk about seeing your true self and daring to look yourself in the eyes. It implies that maybe the client has done something wrong or has done something unforgivable. You see my issue here. It's it's almost stone cold. And of course we know it's not, right? Because same as with Book of Thoth, here in the Mary L. guidebook, we're talking about the story and myth of the goddess Ma'at, which is an Egyptian goddess as far as I know. And she weighs your heart against one of her feathers. And this is a test to see whether you are pure at heart, whether your heart is as light as the feather. You're not allowed basically to have this heavy heart, right? Full of, I guess, guilt and maybe mistakes that you would have been able to avoid, and lessons that you know, time and time again failed to learn. These types of things I think we're talking about. And it's it's very personal what you think is right to do. She is a judge. She does judge the reader, the client, the one who gets the reading. So there is this personal feeling of what is right to do in a situation or in your lifetime. But then there's also just the laws of the universe that no human being has any control over or say over. Very similar sometimes to the Wheel of Fortune card. So as I read about my card, I'm a Libra. Also, my life path number is 8. So when we're talking about justice is 8. Also, this year, 2023, my number is 8. So justice is my card. I made a video about this. I realized that this story of this particular goddess is beautiful. I love it. But to interpret it as advice, or maybe in the shadow position, or maybe, I don't know, next to Five of Swords, Seven of Swords, those types of cards, it really is sometimes a difficult message to give to somebody else. Are you being honest? Are you being authentic? Are you being pure at heart? That's the thought that I had. And then justice at 8, right? Yes, justice is at 8. Could it be that you're not supposed to be pure? That's another late night thought I had, because as an adult, figuring that you are an adult as someone who gets a client, or who gets a tarot reading, you cannot be free from guilt or mistakes. Let's be completely honest here. Every tarot card is a mirror, but justice is the mirror of mirrors, right? You cannot be free from guilt or mistakes, and so you are banished to the ninth card, the Hermit. It doesn't even matter. It's this thought that I had. I was thinking, the tarot has so many lessons, right? For instance, every ending is automatically a new beginning. There is no end of energy. There's only the birth of it, and then the recycling of energy, which is why everything is connected. But then also think this. We get this card to better ourselves, to think of, well, am I actually able to look the justice lady straight in the eyes, as she does in the Rider-Waite-Smith, for instance? She looks us dead in the eyes, and you are standing in front of her in her court, thinking, am I pure? Am I right? Is this true? Am I living my true, authentic life? Am I making mistakes time and time again? Have I made a mistake that I haven't rectified yet? Am I living in fear? Am I living in denial? If you're standing there feeling weak in your knees, then you are being judged. And I think you're being judged negatively in this scenario. Then there's also the slight chance that you might be, free from all this guilt, that you might actually have a pure motivation. I believe we have pure hearts, right? Let's not be all negative here. But I think anybody who is in the position to receive a tarot reading, so you are no longer a baby, you are no longer a young child, you have life experience, anybody who is in that position cannot fully be free from guilt or mistakes. And I'm talking universe guilt, right? Not the guilt that you have as you're born. I don't believe in that. Or the guilt in feeling sense, because that is useless. Useless emotion. Don't feel guilt. Don't feel guilty. Do something about it. So yeah, late night thought. You cannot be free from guilt. Therefore, you get this card and you are automatically, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, wherever you are, banished to the Hermit card, the ninth card, where you get to completely focus on yourself. Then I have this excerpt from the book. Fear of darkness is one which will appear over and over. It's a very natural and good fear. Children fear the dark, and keeps them from wandering into harm while their parents sleep. Adults fear the dark, and it keeps us from situations where we are vulnerable. It colors all the symbols relating to the night, the moon, the dark, owls, bats, etc. And because of our natural circadian rhythms, our state of mind is different at night. Our consciousness shifts closer to a dream state, and consequently the door is open to fantastic events and experiences. We have a darkness within us, places that we can't easily see. It is our subconscious and our unconscious, places that are not illuminated by the sun. I think this came from the Priestess card. Let me show you the first edition High Priestess. She has the glyph of the Tree of Life on her belly. But I might be wrong. I don't remember which part of the book this is. But I wanted to say about this, there's this fear of darkness, right, that the book is talking about. This excerpt reminded me of how in my own practice I've been working within and with darkness for a while now. Darkness really is this important entity of itself almost in my practice. And I realized that this type of, I don't know, almost lower frequency work makes me more perceptive to other things because it allows me to be more in this dream state always. There's a bit more, not calmness, but a sort of enveloping energy that makes the outside world a little less important. It's like it's muted in a way. It somehow makes the magical things of everyday life, or just being able to interpret my dreams or remember my dreams, let's start there, way easier. It's more accessible to me. And I realize that perhaps some folk would joke about me and call me delulu, but I love this magical mindset. That's what it's all about. And you know nobody can tell me it's not good for something. Next part. The main thing that I like about the Mary L. guidebook is that it reads like Book of Thoth. Don't click away, okay? I know not everybody loves the Crowley stuff, but what I see in similarity between Book of Thoth and Mary L. Landscapes of the Abyss is that the book doesn't explain what each card means. It explains what is depicted in the card, but it doesn't say what any of the cards really mean. I definitely say it's not a beginner book, but it's so good because consider this. It reads like Book of Thoth, and yes, both of these can be very frustrating because they never truly mention, as I said, the meaning of the card in most card explanations. It comes with facts, 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 numerology, tree of life, myth, and legend, but it never blatantly tells you this means this and this means that. Because you know what? First of all, this isn't always this, and that doesn't always mean that. And it forces you to train that brain muscle to come up with the meaning yourself. Because you somehow have to already know it. And guess what? You do already know it. You do already know the meaning of each card in the tarot. Now, all that is left to do is to assign the cards with traits of life events, to recognize which life experience is which tarot card. Because I don't really like it when books tell you the meaning of each card. It can be helpful, obviously, but it's not about studying without understanding, right? It's not about studying without questioning, without searching, without hitting a wall and completely disagreeing with the text at some point. Really, it's part of the process of the never ending tarot journey to hit walls and to not agree with the text that is right there in front of you. It's part of it because it makes you understand the card better. When you read something that you don't understand, it makes you understand yourself better too. And then it doesn't even matter if along the way you start agreeing with that particular text or that you never do. Both is actually fine. Here's a hot take. Keep in mind that I think this type of writing is deliberate. I think Crowley and Mary White deliberately wrote their books to be a little frustrating because the words are made to inspire and be helpful in the most frustrating way so that we actually find our way. And I personally love that. There is no blatant, this is the meaning of the card, and if you think otherwise or if you feel otherwise, you're wrong. No, we're talking 360 degrees approach here, so it can mean a lot. The deck I have not really touched. I do see that there are some beautiful images, but with everything I have, there might be enough images in this deck that I'm not in love with for me to not use it. You know what I mean? So still a little undecided about the deck, but this was my probably short review of the book, and yeah, what I read about it. I hope you have a little bit of an idea of the tone of the text. And I mean, it's really interesting. It's an interesting read, and it reminds me so much of the Book of Thoth, that if you like Mary White's writing, then by all means take a dive into Book of Thoth, into Crowley's work, if you haven't done so yet. Because I think, you know, it's poetic, it's fiery, it's inspiring, and still it's frustrating in the most fun way possible. So there you go. That was this week's video. I hope you enjoyed. And if you haven't seen the first Mary White, or what's this called, Mary L. Tarot review yet, then I will link it. And yeah, let me know what you think of that as well. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye.